So, 100 bootstrappers breaking $5 million in revenue, and how exactly did they do it is what we're going to focus on for the next 26 minutes. And I can't take credit for a lot of this. You guys know my style. I basically take content from other folks from this podcast that I've got. Over 3,300 founders interviewed so far. And, 500 five-star reviews. We like what we're doing. We're growing quick. And then you get a guy like this, right? You get a guy like this in the comments. And you need this. You need people to hate on you a little bit. It keeps you going. It means you're doing something right. And so, in all fairness, this guy, maybe he doesn't like it. However, you got companies or reviews like this, which accurately describe exactly what we're trying to do on the show, which is open up everything. Get people to share data so we can all learn together. And it really is an Excel file in audio format. And that's what we're going to jump into today. Some context to those individual data points. You guys recognize some of the founders maybe that I have interviewed. Some of these folks like Johnny in the upper left, that was pre-revenue Hopin. We had pre-revenue Lumon back in 2019, obviously a $1 billion exit last week there. So we're gonna take all the content from these founders, and what I like to do is say, okay, who has bootstrapped and really crushed it? Right, and so I put this Excel file together with the top 100 bootstrappers, right? Actually 180, the full file, which you guys, I'll show you how to get on this USB drive at the end of the talk. But these bootstrappers all broke 5 million in revenue, and the question is, how do they do it? What are they doing that's unique and different? And I'll tell you the overarching theme. They all use creativity to win because they haven't raised VC. They don't throw money at problems, right? It's all creativity. All right, now this, if you are wondering, should I stick around? Is this different than the main stage presentation? This is different content, right? Opening is the same, but very different content. So let's jump into it, right? Let's jump into it. This is our roadmap for the next 23 minutes. We're gonna talk about breaking your first 1 million. Then we'll do 1 million to 3, and then we'll do 3 million plus. Now, out of curiosity, so I can get a read on the room real quick, raise your hand if you're sub 1 million. You're working on your first million. Raise it high. That's a proud place to be. You've made the commitment. Okay, hands down. Raise your hand if you're between 1 and 3 right now. Between 1 and 3. All right, and then hands down. And raise your hand if you're above 3 million, just looking to keep the growth going. Raise them high, be proud. Great. That's very cool. And then last question, raise your hand if you're, raise your hand. I don't want to say, people go, what's bootstrapped mean? So I'll say, raise your hand if you've raised less, this is my definition, raised less than what your ARR is. You have to think about it. Raise your hand. Okay, mainly bootstrappers. Cool. So we're gonna have fun. Let's jump into this first section here. Getting your first million, you wanna do without spending a lot of money. So these tactics don't require money, right? They do not require capital. So automatic SEO, we'll talk about how to take customers from your competitors. And lastly, we'll talk about white labeling and why that's worked for Overcast. Now, this first example we're going to jump into, I'm selfish because this is how we grew Get Latka. Get Latka today does monthly recurring revenue of about $40,000 per month, people paying $79 per month for the data. So how did we get all the traffic and the conversion, which, by the way, I spend almost no time on anymore because I'm running Founderpath with the team. We do this. We do programmatic SEO, which is, I define as just think about like SEO driven by patterns and code, not people, right? Not someone manually writing a blog post. So what does it look like to show you visual proof? Well, there it is. That's my search console, right? That's the search console. So you can see over the past 12 months, we've generated for free, this is no ad spend, for free, 759,000 clicks. Now, those of you spending money on ads, think about what you pay per click. Yell out some numbers. Maybe $1, $4? Anyone? Greg, what do you see practical founders spending on ads? Any? $4, 4 per click. Let's just be conservative and say $1 per click. This is a $750,000 arbitrage that you're looking at, right? So how does this work and how can you copy it? This guy's like, I don't want to miss a fucking thing, and Nathan talks fast. I'm going to record the whole thing. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's great. I love it. So this is a visual of what we do for programmatic SEO. You take the audio file, it goes through a little engine we have, and the audio data points become text data points in charts and graphs on GitLatka. How do we get traffic, though? Because it can be a great product, but it's got to get traffic. I'm going to let you study this for 15 seconds. This is the exact document I give my engineering team to help them implement programmatic SEO. The yellow highlights in the bottom left next to title is the sentence that can be used for any company I've interviewed, right? And then there's like merge fields, and you can see then what it actually looks like after I interviewed Amit from Gong. You can see how the Gong numbers get filled in there in the bottom right, the yellow sections. That's programmatic, right? The program is the sense SEO. So does it work? Does it work? Well, Crunchbase has raised a lot of money, right? PR Newswire has raised a lot of money. TechCrunch has raised a lot of money. We outrank all of them for a very competitive keyword, right? A company's name plus the word revenue, Gong revenue, right? And we raised nothing. So how do we do that? Again, it's because of this programmatic SEO concept. Now, where do people mess this up? You want to focus on one math equation. For us, it's the company plus the word revenue. You want to figure out what that is for your industry. If you do software for truck drivers, it might be fix oil or fix tires in Dublin, Ireland for F-150. You see my point? You need to be able to write that sentence for your company. That's the first step of really good programmatic SEO, okay? Let's go into our second section. How is Tally and Marie and Philippe, how are they taking share from a well-funded competitor? Nothing wrong with that, by the way, but like Typeform, right? Typeform has raised 187 million bucks of capital. Let's look at Tally's revenue growth. All right, this is their MRR. Bootstrapped. I'm going to let Marie teach you exactly how she's done it.
So the main question here was, we didn't really have an audience. How can we find people that want to use our form builder in an already very competitive market? We're bootstrapped, we didn't have any budget, so we kind of thought, where can we find those creators, startups that we were targeting? So we decided to go to Product Hunt and basically find people that had upvoted similar products, right? So we would go check, find other founders that had upvoted form building tools. We would reach out to them and do this over and over and over again for about half a year, actually. So we had contacted thousands of people by cold outreach. And that is how we found our first users in a very non-scalable way. And this actually introduced us in new communities, founder Slack groups, also no-code communities. And that's how we found our first users.
She continues to grow very fast. She emailed me a couple days ago when I told her I was putting this in the presentation and said they've broken 80,000 a month in revenue. So this is working. Again, she's doing a lot of cold outreach. The problem with most cold outreach is actually copywriting. If you don't write a good subject line, your email's not going to get open. We'll talk about some tactics to beat that here in a second. But that's Marie Martin, right, growing very nicely. Last one I want to talk about, again, a bootstrapper beating a VC-backed company, or at least taking market share from them, is Overcast, who competes with the VC-funded Frame.io, right? Frame.io has raised a lot of money. So what's their Trojan horse? What has Overcast done? Let's learn from Philippe.
We get compared to Frame.io a lot, right?
Yep.
Frame.io are a multi-tenanted SaaS. What does that mean? That's Frame.io. When you buy Frame.io, you buy Frame.io, right? And it's part of your SaaS stack. When you buy Overcast, we're a white label version. Okay, so what we're doing is we're integrating with your tech stack already, and we're moving into the background. Okay, so we're not the ones, we're not saying that, you know, this is our brand up front. We're actually helping to manage all the big content.
Why is that important for you? By eliminating your brand, you reduce your ability to drive word of mouth and freemium and sort of new, CAC arbitrage signups. Why'd you make that decision?
Well, Intel Inside, right? Like no one ever went out to buy Intel, right? But Intel Inside really works, and I think it works for video as well.
So another way to say this is value-added resellers. His platform is built into folks that already have the attention in the customer base, so he can just focus on a great product. It's working very nicely for Overcast. We'll see what happens there, but again, over 1.2 million bucks of annual recurring revenue already today. Let's sum up this first section. 9 bootstrappers beating their VC-backed competitors. We just went through the first 3. Programmatic SEO, building in public like Marie Martin's with outbound content, and lastly, white label to win. You've got 4 more seconds to take a picture if you want it. 3, 2, 1. All right, next section. We're going to talk about going from 1 million to 3 million, which is, I think, a beautiful place to be. This is where everything's getting excited. If you're a student who dropped out, you're like, Mom, I'm officially dropping out, and look, here's a great Christmas present. It's actually working. I have a real company, right? All right, 1 to 3. We're going to talk about affiliates and Convertry. We're going to talk about compare pages and Missive, and agency to SaaS with Instantly.ai. Let's talk about affiliates first. Now, raise your hand right now if you feel like you have a decent, or at least you've started some sort of affiliate program. Raise your hand. Raise your hand high. Raise your hand high. Okay. All right. So this will be good content. Let's learn from Andy.
Again, in 12 months' time, we don't pay commission on that. That's like all priced in at that point.
Sure. So at a high level, anything that videos drives you,
and is included in the first cart checkout. Like the average cart value is $297 plus $37 a month or $97 a month. They're getting 50% of, or they got 50% of.
That's correct.
Yeah, and then if you
So what I want you to take away there is he follows the Jeff Walker product launch formula. Write that down. That's a good book to read if you want to do this. Affiliates care about product launches because they care about earnings per click, EPC, and cost per click, right? So read Jeff Walker's product launch formula. See, he launches this product, and basically if his product is $100 a month, he'll do a launch where anyone can buy it for $9.97. Affiliates promote it, and then he gives them, heard him say 50% of that initial cart value. But after year one, he keeps all the upside. That's a big mistake folks make when they launch their affiliate program. Do not give perpetual commissions. You have to preserve your ability to make better margin in year 2 and 3 if you keep the customer. And your biggest hit on margin is what you're paying the affiliate who brought the customer in the first place, right? So make sure you don't give perpetual cuts to affiliates, right? Let it phase out over time. All right, these are 3 ways to find great affiliates. Search your competitor's name on YouTube plus the word webinar, right? If I'm Tim and Ahrefs, I would maybe go on and search SEMrush webinar, and you're going to see a bunch of people that promoted SEMrush with a webinar that Tim can go recruit to promote Ahrefs because they publish the replays on YouTube, right? Great tactic. Number 2, use pave.com. It's Google AdSense for email newsletters. It tells you how many people are in the newsletter, what the newsletter charges to sponsor it, all in pave.com. And then lastly, go find a great author like April Dunford, right? That doesn't have a SaaS product. Well, if you sell into her market, you might say, let me make you the ambassador of our SaaS product, and then she becomes your biggest affiliate. So go find great authors that don't know how to use engineers to build great code. 3 great ideas there. Let's move to number 2, compare pages. Really great SEO hack. Who's already doing this? As I say, it works really well, and it's so simple to get going, right? You want to just compare your tools. So Missive app in Raphael's case versus competitor 1, 2, 3. I'm going to let him teach you here. Look at his revenue growth.
Missive versus SparkMail right now. So what makes this page do so well from an SEO perspective?
From an SEO, oh man, it's a good question. I mean, it's honest. It's a honest take. When there are some shortcomings in Missive compared to the other product, we do state it clearly, and we don't want to bring users in who won't like Missive and would actually rather use Spark or like a more personal-oriented email app. It's just honest, and I believe it kind of scores.
Raphael's too slow for me. I talk fast. Go to clickup.com or missiveapp.com, scroll to the footer, and look at all their compare pages. Copy that template. Clickup.com does it better than anybody, and missiveapp.com. Just write those down, go to the footer, look at the compare pages. All right, lastly, this isn't such a big secret anymore, but some people maybe feel like they've been beaten down by someone that told them, oh, you're building a lifestyle agency, I'm not interested. The wealthiest, richest, biggest bootstrapping SaaS founders 3 years from today, right now, are building a $500,000 agency. I promise you. Right, raise your hand right now if you have an agency, like 100,000, raise it really high. I want to write you all non-dilutive angel checks. Right? They'll be the successful ones, for 3-4 years from now. And so agency is a great way to start a SaaS product because you get intimately close to your customers. I saw Vlad back there. Where's Vlad? I just saw him raise his hand. There he is. Yeah. So Folderly, raise your hand high so people can talk to you afterwards. Guys, turn around, these guys. So on the left, they've built a media business. Sorry, not a media, an agency called Belkins, and then Vlad spun out. They launched a SaaS product called Folderly, helps with email deliverability. And now they're like, okay, how much of the agency revenue do we give to the SaaS company to grow it? And what's the relationship look like? And what's the cap table look like? They're doing it very, very well. It's a great way to launch a SaaS product. So agency first. I'm gonna let Raul explain how he's done it with Instantly.ai.
9 months ago, there's a lot of other players already in the space. What made you go, you know what? They're already doing it, but I'm going to launch anyway. I'm going to win, and I'm going to do it better.
So we had our own lead generation agency, and we used all the other tools on the market. But as soon as we started scaling, our prices rose a lot. Just you have to pay per account. So every email account you use to send, you pay per account for other software. And if you scale, you want to get more accounts, you want to send more emails. It just, at some point, we were paying like thousands a month. And then we thought like, we just should build our own tool because we had a really good developer. And that was the main reason why we built it for ourselves. We didn't do it for anything else. Like we didn't even plan of launching it just for our own agency. But when we did it and started talking to people about it, then we really saw like we have something, it's unique, it's something that's proven, but has a unique twist, something that's going to help.
what you want to sell your agency customers, right? Don't do free, test periods. Bill them for the test period and call it a product roadmap acceleration fee. Sounds really fucking good. Product roadmap acceleration fee, right? And what you're saying is, we've built this software so you can do some of the stuff you used to pay us to consult you for, but you can do it now with the software. Oh, and by the way, the contract value is $5,000 a year. We'll get it launched to you in 2 months. That's the product roadmap acceleration fee if you want to be one of the first 10 users, right? So that's agencies. Now, you can see here, all these companies launch as an agency. I'll let you scan some of the revenue figures really quick. Again, this file's on the USB drive, but take a picture, scan it. This works so well. If you're not sure where to start, but you know you want to get into SaaS, these guys are great people to copy, guys and gals. All right, these are the part 2 takeaways, right? So how to use affiliates. We talked about Missive and ClickUp on how to use compare pages. And lastly, we wrapped up with the power of launching a SaaS company using an agency. You've got 4 more seconds here to grab that snapshot. 2, 1, and moving into part 3 here. Part 3, this is scaling from to past 3 million. You guys like the 3 seconds, take a picture quick, right? You love it, right? If I wasn't doing Founderpath, I think I'd be selling like toilet bowls on like HGTV or something, right? It's like, call her in. Okay, you purchased. Why'd you buy? Okay, sales are stopping. Joe, why'd you buy? I'm just kidding. All right, copy. Let's do copywriting first with ClickUp. Then we're going to do Profit Stack with Bridget. We're going to wrap up with a niche monopoly in VisiPay, who's really taking it to companies called like Square and Toast. All right, again, you would never guess this is a software company, but read the headline. All right, $10 book, Recover CAC, talked about it yesterday, not going to repeat it. Upsell the $97 per month SaaS tool, but Russell is a genius at copywriting. Many people are not geniuses at copywriting. We all get each other's emails, like if you're guilty. Merge tag spammer. No, just kidding. I didn't look at anyone. I just looked at the poll for that one, okay? All right. So how does Russell Brunson do this? Well, remember, the success speaks for itself. Bootstrap, 0 to 160 million bucks of revenue. About 30 million of that is consulting each year. The rest is pure SaaS, $97 per month or $297 per month. Your job as a founder, this isn't just selling customers. Your job as a founder is to constantly tell a great story. You see me testing that on stage yesterday. I'm constantly testing how to best tell our story and communicate our founder market fit, right? And product market fit. So your subject line on outreach emails, your website copy, right? LinkedIn, right? Recruiting people. You constantly have to be a great storyteller, right? The problem with it is, most of us are bad at it, and the key to fixing it is this. You guys want to stick everything in every email. You want to answer every question. What's the price point? When's the date? What's the location? What's the UI look like? When's the demo start? What's the salesperson's link? You want to put everything in every email. You like that? Everything in every email. The art of really good storytelling is withholding information to create curiosity so people can't stop watching you. So you have to hold back. You want people wondering about you, right? So that's the secret here. Now, if you feel like you're not good at this, I wasn't either one day. And these were the books I studied. They're on my bookshelf. If you watch the podcast, you see them on my bookshelf behind every episode. This is like the Kickstarter guide to great founder copywriting. Has anyone read any of these books? Raise your hand. Any favorites? Okay. Greg, what was your favorite? Which one did you read? Ogilvy. Phrases That Sell in Ogilvy. Yeah, two really good examples. So that's copywriting books that I use, again, on a weekly basis. You can never get too good at copywriting. Next, I want to talk about Bridget, right? Profit sharing. This is a great growth tactic because it helps you keep your best employees as you scale. And a lot of people go, well, how do we do profit sharing? You hear about profit sharing units instead of equity, and how do you structure it? Well, I think Bridget's created a really nice example here, $5 million of revenue, of how she pays out commissions and profit sharing to her employees. You can see her revenue growth here, right? That's You Can Book Me as her company, right? So Booking Tool competes with Calendly, right? Another bootstrapper going against a big VC-backed company. You can see her P&L here, which thank you, Bridget, for giving me permission to share. All right, so you see 2017 profits. So how does she split that amongst the team? Here's how she does it. Employee number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across the top. Vested points, second row, is how long they've been with the company. You earn vested points of the profit sharing pool based off tenure. The third line down is the percent of the total 100% each employee earns based off those vested units. The last row is how she paid out the $250K of total profits in 2016 based off that share. These are real numbers. This is actually being used, right, by a bootstrapper. This is how it works. Allows her to retain very, very good talent, right? Great talent. I've got her full spreadsheet again on this USB drive, which I'll show you how to get here in about 6.5 minutes. All right. Lastly, I want to talk about a guy that very few people know about. His company is called VisiPay. It's exactly what it sounds like when I say competes with Square and Toast. Physical POS system at the restaurant, upsell the software. We call this IoT plus SaaS. It's a great model because once you install the hardware, you're never churning. The net dollar retention on these companies are usually through the roof, 130, 140, 150%. So how is he stealing market share from Toast, from Square? Well, listen to Austin share a bit about his story.
Austin, let's use a real example here. Proletariat, which you talk about on your website, so I know we can talk about them, as a local bar in Perry, Iowa. They're one of your guys' customers, right? So are you replacing Toast and Square? You're doing a hardware play also, or is it just the behind the scenes, how to process the restaurant, the new bar order, things like that?
It's a little bit of both. So since you mentioned that, place, I know exactly that place. I've been there. But we place a POS system in there to help their business run more efficient, within the organization, and without the high cost of other competitors that are out there that you mentioned.
What does that cost, Austin, for the proletariat? Do they have to buy the POS, or do you subsidize that if they use your software on the back end?
Well, in our situation, we have an equipment placement program. So based on volume, et cetera, that we will place it there at no cost to them. So we're contributing $2,000-$3,000 worth of equipment, to their doorstep, and we give them options to basically eliminate what they pay for accepting credit cards, and give them options to do that through the technology and through the POS.
So he's got a unique model here in that he finances the hardware installation for $2,000 to $3,000. So it basically allows it to give it to customers for free, and then upsells on a higher base fee, but takes a smaller percentage from restaurants compared to Toast and Square. That's his way he's going in and beating margin. So this is a case where he's definitely undercutting, right? He's just going cheaper, which isn't a great strategy for all of us to copy. But what I want you to take from Austin is he's undercutting to start, but he knows what he's doing, right? The economics long-term makes sense because he knows his net dollar retention. He knows how sticky they are, and that's why he's been able to bootstrap to $27 million of revenue, right? So really, really good story there. You guys are going to kill me. The magazines are gone, unfortunately. But if you got the magazine, on page 4, you would see a list of all 180 bootstrap companies, their revenue, the CEO's email, the equity splits we put in there as well. Really strong content in there. So let's sum up part 3 takeaways here. We talked about copywriting cash and ClickFunnels. I showed you 6 books you can use to really get good at copywriting fast. I talked about how much we love Bridget and how she does profit sharing with her team with her profit sharing template. And I also finished up with VisiPay and how he's undercutting big funded competitors, even public like Square and Toast, to gain market share. To summarize everything we just talked about over the last 26 minutes, this is maybe the money shot you want to take a picture of to jog your memory on the plane ride back home. We talked about your first million. Arbitrage on SEO, programmatic SEO. We talked about Marie Martin's taking customers from Typeform, white label to win, beating Frame.io, 1 to 1 million, affiliates, compare pages like ClickUp, and agency to SaaS, and lastly, copywriting cash, profit stack there, and niche monopolies. Now again, we've got all these, I think we've got about 30 of these USB drives left. So you'll get the top 150 bootstrappers on this, totally free, right? The Excel file. You'll get the profit sharing template from Bridget, along with all this other stuff. $100 million secondary deck, revenue per employee file as well. In order to get this, what we want to do is just have you guys scan this. What this asks you to do is leave a review for SaaStock. It's like a couple questions. So scan this now and show us the final screen at our booth. The first 30 to do it, we'll hand the free USB drive to, okay? So give that a scan. Give that a scan. We'll get this deck to you guys as well, but I appreciate you guys, first off, for coming on the show and sharing all your data so I can cut it up and share it back to you in situations like this. I want to congratulate all of you guys for bootstrapping and building capital-efficient companies, because ultimately, all that matters long-term is how much you own, in my opinion. Grow a little slower, keep 100%, you'll sleep better at night. And then lastly, if one of you guys, if anyone's interested in a book, page 6 is my tax return from my first SaaS company. I'll be doing a book signing. I know it's very weird looking at myself. I don't know if I'm ever going to make another 9-foot cutout of myself again. But I will do a book signing back at the Nathan Latka cutout right after this as well. In the meantime, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.